Equatorial Guinea has a population of 820,900 and an area of 28,000 square kilometers. Their GDP was $14.31 billion as of 2014, and their GDP per capita was 20,581. Despite these promising statistics, approximately 80% of the population lives under the poverty line. Where did that wealth come from? And who has it if most of the country is suffering? In the 1990s, Equatorial Guinea struck oil, and they are now the third largest oil producer in sub-Saharan Africa. They produce around 304,000 barrels a day, which just continues to add to the president's fortune. In 2010, Equatorial Guinea earned about $3 billion from their oil, but due to corruption, it has not improved the lives of the people. It is estimated that 80% of oil revenues only affect 5% of the population, which is mainly the political leaders. Because of the discovery of oil, Equatorial Guinea's GDP per capita has been able to increase by 16.2% since the 1990s, but people are still living in horrible conditions. This is due to a condition called the Dutch disease, which states that newfound oil seems to cause a boom, but will actually lead to an underdeveloped economy, which is the case in Equatorial Guinea. Signs are pointing to the end in production of oil for Equatorial Guinea in the near future, which will leave Equatorial Guinea with nothing. The oil industry has been fostering the corruption of the government, allowing President Obiang to live the life of a billionaire while his people live on less than $1 a day and gain nothing from their country's natural resource. President Obiang recently spent millions of dollars on a mansion outside of Washington, D.C. and spends the country's money on a new capital and his family's lavish lifestyle. To continue financing his purchases, the spending on education has been reduced to less than 1% of the GDP. While President Obiang's son buys a fleet of Ferraris, the average Equatorial Guinean only lives until 53, and less than half the population has access to safe drinking water. The unemployment rate in Equatorial Guinea is 30%, and most of the employees of the oil sector are not even Equatorial Guineans, they are foreigners. On top of all that, the World Health Organization estimates Equatorial Guinea only spends 3.5% of their GDP on healthcare. And due to all this corruption, the World Bank and IMF discontinued their aid programs in the 1990s, and even today the World Bank has no active projects there. What do we want? No more corruption! When do we want it? Now! Two are better than one. If the UN and developed countries' governments work together, they can be a driving force in the destruction of corruption. How does a country destroy corruption? Well, to start, the government needs to be exposed for their corrupt actions. Show the whole world the real situation in Equatorial Guinea. To protect the people from their government, the UN or foreigners would have to take the first step. Next, we've got to get aid programs back in Equatorial Guinea. Without them, the people don't stand a chance. There haven't been aid programs there for decades, and the people's situation are getting worse and worse. We would also have to monitor them extremely closely to ensure they work. Another way of improving the people's situation is by channeling foreign aid through private investment instead of the government. Private investment has been proven to decrease corruption, whereas the government will just take the money for themselves. The people need financial aid and access to microcredit to build their economy up and earn an income. It also has to be strictly monitored and tracked to ensure success. Financial aid can help people rise from below the poverty line and into the middle class. Currently, there is no real middle class in Equatorial Guinea, which means no one to promote change. The middle class is shown to have enough stability to be able to make change happen. With the desire of change, the people need an individual or group to rise to the position of joining them together in the cause. Once the people are ready to improve the situation, they have to overthrow the government and kick them out of power. To do that, they will need support from aid programs and other countries. To ensure the new government does not fall into the trap of corruption, an independent judiciary system needs to be established. It will be in charge of interpreting the laws fairly and prosecuting according to those laws. The free people of Equatorial Guinea can implement their own government through true democracy and fair elections. They can also rewrite their constitution to ensure corruption is not tolerated. Every person who held a position of power has to be evicted, or there will be a chance of corruption taking over again. Together we can support the people of Equatorial Guinea in defending the corruption that has destroyed their lives for the last few decades. Iceland recently overthrew the corrupt government with a peaceful revolution, forcing every member of the government to resign. They're now 14th on the Human Development Index. If they can do it, so can Equatorial Guinea.